Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know I haven't been on for a while, but I didn't really have anything I wanted to talk about. And today I wanted to talk about something that, just because it keeps coming up all of the time recently, I've noticed. And can I just say firstly, I'm sorry about the lighting. It's been really overcast in London all day today, and as soon as I decided to do a video, the sun came out. So you know what it's like. Anyway, so what I wanted to talk about today was, and this is obviously just my experience with men messaging me about certain things, being a trans woman. But I've noticed recently that I'm getting guys messaging me, asking me if I'm a lady boy, if I'm a she-male, if I'm a tranny. Um, and now, even though I find these words are okay to be used within our own community, because I find them, if another TS girl calls me a tranny, it's kind of used in an affectionate way in our community. Well, it is with me and my friends anyway. That's kind of how we use that word. But I don't really appreciate anyone else calling me a ladyboy or she-male or a tranny, because they're derogatory terms used to talk about us in a negative way. And I've always kind of looked at it as, anything you would say offensive to somebody else because of their race or their nationality or their religion or something, it's kind of the same thing to use those kind of words towards a trans woman or man, because you're not in position to be using those words because you haven't lived our life or gone through our struggle, as it were. So those are kind of words that are reserved for us. I don't know if all trans women and men agree with me and think in the same way. I don't know whether you find these words completely offensive and you just don't use them at all. But in my group of friends, we do use those terms. The word tranny anyway, in a way of in a funny way, or in a way that you would with friends and things like that. We don't. It's not used in a derogatory term, but if someone outside of our community used that word towards one of us or to describe one of us, then it's offensive. So I just wondered what everyone else's views were on this situation and subject, because I think it is all down to individual choice as far as being a trans person and being okay with these words. Me personally, I have no problem with them being used within our community, as I said, but I find recently that I'm just being called that all the time online by men, and it's just really frustrating. I find it like, ignorance for a man to call you that, because, to me, and this is just some advice now, guys, to you, if you're interested in trans women and you're thinking about messaging one for whatever reason, just do a bit of research first, because we are normal people like everybody else, and we have our own issues and stuff like everybody else does, and you may catch us at the wrong moment and ask us this kind of question, and we will fly off the handle and get really annoyed with you. It's happened to me before. I'm not that kind of person generally, but if you catch me at the wrong moment and ask me a question starting with the words, are you she-male, are you ladyboy, one of those kind of things, I will get really, really annoyed, because I'm not in the right frame of mind. Usually I will try and educate somebody and explain to them what they should be saying and how they should be addressing a trans woman or a trans man. But usually, if you catch me at the wrong moment, I will get really, really annoyed and just take it to heart straight away, whether you meant it or not. Because in my mind, if you're not sure about something, or you don't have very much knowledge about it, then it's best not to open your mouth until you've studied this subject in particular and got some knowledge about it before you open your mouth and say something disrespectful to somebody. Because to me, it's different, like if it's a family member who knew you before your transition and they're still getting used to it, and they may fuck up a couple of times through your transition because they're still getting used to the pronouns and all that kind of stuff. But when it's somebody who does not know you, but they know you're a trans person, really, if they're going to message you or communicate with you in any kind of way, they need to really do some research first before they talk to you, because I just don't think it's good enough to say, well, I'm new to this, I don't really know how I should be speaking to a trans person or not, because, then you should learn. You should go onto Google or go onto YouTube. There's so many videos talking about this subject. Even I have videos on my channel. So if you want to, this is the first video of mine you've ever seen, then I suggest you go back through my videos and just watch over some of them and listen to some of the things I talk about and some advice I give people, because I just wish that people were a bit more educated, or they just wanted to actually educate themselves before they have a conversation about something. And this doesn't just apply to trans men and women. This applies to everything in life. You know, if I'm talking to someone I've never met before, who's from a country I've never been to, or has a religion that I have known nothing about, or anything, like it could be to do with anything. You know, even with a work related subject or something. If I don't know anything about that subject, I'm either not going to say anything because I have no knowledge about it, so I'm not going to say anything because it could be incorrect or I could offend somebody. Or if it's someone like, maybe it's someone I've just met who's like a partner, or someone who's going to become a close friend, then it's in my best interest to actually do a bit of research about something that is important to them that I don't know about, so that when it does come up in conversation, or I do ask them a question about it, I can ask them an educated question without offending them, because I know what I should and shouldn't say, because I've actually had enough interest and respect for that person to do my research first. You know, so, and I think that it applies very much so to trans people in the trans community. We need people to have a bit more respect for us before they ask us questions. And you know, I'm all for education, and I will gladly answer people's questions about the trans community as far as my knowledge goes. Obviously, I can only talk from past experience. I can't generalize, which I would never do. I would only tell someone my experiences of certain things. But I'm much more happy to talk about those kind of things if I feel that somebody is asking me in a respectful way, as opposed to somebody who's being ignorant and asking me a question just because, you know, in asking me a question in that kind of way of, you know, that they are just they don't know anything about what you're talking about, and they kind of shrug it off as in kind of saying, you know, oh, I didn't know, sorry. Well, it's in your best interest to know if trans men and women are something that you're interested in, whether it's be friends with them, or to support their cause, or to date one of them. Then if it's that important to you, then you should do some research first. I highly suggest that you do that. Anyway, rant over. This was kind of a ranty video, I guess, but I just had to get that off my chest because it's been going in my head, should I say, for a couple of weeks, and I just thought, oh, I have to say something because it was been getting really annoying recently. So there you go. Anyway, short and sweet, to the point, as always. Have a really good week, everybody. Lots of love.